The roads are lonely, and the silence in the classrooms across public universities in the country is deafening. The classrooms are under lock and key. A peep through the window into the classroom shows dusty chairs and desks, clear evidence that the classrooms have not been used for any academic activities for some time. Students like Feintola Oluwa, a 400-level student of estate management at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, Osun State, are finding an alternative since she can't be in school due to the industrial action by lecturers.
I started my learning graphic design properly in April. Then I did a lot of personal projects. So I designed a logo for somebody that she's into plants. She sells plants, so I designed a logo for her and I started to post on Twitter, and from there it blew up. I got a lot of responses.
Like Feintola, the strike is having psychological and financial impact on Prince Agbola, a 400-level law student at the University of Abuja. Thanks to this job in a hotel, he's finding a way to deal with the frustration of idleness.
You can't just stay at home, like you have to go out and hustle. Because the strike, you being at home self alone, depression will just get to you. Like you being at home, depression will get to you. So you have to like go out and hustle. Like I've gone through like different jobs just within the space of this 6-month strike. I've done different jobs. I've worked in the hotel. I've done different things just to make money during the strike. Because it's really bad for like students to be at home during this period.
Jada Christopher, a student of industrial design at the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria, Kaduna State, is also not letting the strike take the shine off her life.
I've been trying to get my hands on some jobs. I have a summer school job in August lined up for me, and I also try to practice some art and craft jobs like painting on materials, painting on clothes, try to work on my aesthetic value on my designs and also how it can be utilized. The government really needs to do something about it because we have to go back to school. We need to go back to school. It's very essential. We need to finish what we already started. We can't be going halfway each and every time we start something. So we beg the government that they should help and do whatever they can so that we can go back to school.
As the saying goes, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. In this case, the Nigerian students are suffering, and they really cannot wait to get back to.
All right, so to talk to us about the whys and the wherefores, let's head to Abuja concerning ASUU's rollover of the strike. Mark?
Thank you, Chamberlain. Indeed, the president of ASUU is here with us, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke. Thank you for coming to our studios this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
But it's really depressing news. You must have also heard from the students there, and they're really struggling to keep hope alive. We had heard sometime last week there were talks that ASUU was going to call off its strike this week. In fact, some people felt almost cocksure that it even made it to the dailies. How come it is that the announcement we heard instead is that you're rolling over the strike for another 4 weeks?
Well, what you had last week were just speculations. And the speculations, was based on what we also heard from the news, that the federal government, that the president had given the Minister of Education 2 weeks within which to resolve the issues.
Yes.
And that was what the people based the idea on, that within 2 weeks, the government will resolve the issue, and then ASUU will call off the strike. It was just based on that you had that speculation that ASUU, we have a procedure. We, the principal officer of the union, we cannot call off strike. We must go to our branches who actually declared the strike. So that is it. So it was just speculation, but unfortunately.
Did you also hear that? I mean, did you also believe that perhaps this week, maybe that strike could be called off?
We were very hopeful. We thought that as soon as that announcement was made, that within 1 or 2 days, we were here, within 1 or 2 days, we'll be called to a meeting. And like we said, the issue remaining to us today, where we are, is that it can be resolved within 24 hours if there is seriousness on the part of government. It can be resolved. The issue of UTAS, and IPPIS have been tested. And for what has been happening recently, it's clear to all Nigerians that the IPPIS was just a fraudulent means of siphoning money from workers. As I speak, when you go around Nigeria, you take the population, not less than 10,000 of our members have one issue or the other with payment. Either 5 months salary not paid, 8 months not paid, 20 months not paid, and what have you. If you go around university today, you see that a number of people we either paid, we have a professor who will pay about 25% of his salary, and nothing happens.
You know, this IPPIS and UTAS matter is a very tricky one, and we'll delve into it shortly. But I just wanted to know on what basis, because, you know, some media outlets had gone out to say that, you know, the strike was going to be called off this week, and they were quite sure. We also saw the NLC in a joint protest last week. They did a protest nationwide, and then they also had a very big protest right here in Abuja. And they were hoping that that would also yield results. I mean, I think they left with the threat that if nothing is done, they will then call a strike themselves. Something certainly must have happened after that.
Nothing. You see, if we really were serious, if we take education serious, if the children of all Nigerians, irrespective of your rank, you are in Nigerian university, once NSU gave this warning early June, we would not have waited for it to do that demonstration. The warning was given in first week in June. Fragment were written that, look, sort out this problem. If you don't, within I think, give a timeline, we'll have a protest. If that protest don't, we'll go on a 3-way strike. But they did nothing. Then the strike, the protest took place last week. Up to today, we have not been formally called to any meeting. So that is what you see. This present system, this present government, and even the one in the past, they have absolutely no regard for the Nigerian educational system. And the impact is very clear. There's no country, any university you go to in the world, and I mean the whole world, you will not see a Nigerian lecturer. There's none. There's no university you go to in the world, you will not see a Nigerian student. But there's no university you go to in Nigeria and you see a foreign lecturer. There's no university you go to in Nigeria and you see a foreign student. Except those maybe whose parents are here or what have you. So that is it. So why are our people leaving and nobody is coming in? That is the cause of all this our strike. Why are our lecturers leaving? We spend so much money training a lecturer. TETFON spend money training a lecturer. After training them, they leave the country. They are best brain, they leave the country. But none is coming, as you have in the 60s, 70s, 80s, none is coming. That should be a universal. People should come in as we are going.
So 6 months now, you've been on strike since February 14th.
It'll be 6 months on the 14th.
Yes, you declared this particular strike, and this is the 2nd of August. You cannot say that nothing has been happening. I mean, there must have been meetings, there must have been negotiations, there must have been conversations. You mean out of all of these conversations, nothing is forthcoming?
As at now, absolutely nothing.
So what do you usually conclude at the end of these conversations that you have with the federal government?
We will conclude. We will finish the process. You know, collective bargaining, you have two bodies. The federal government represented. We don't expect the president to come and discuss with us, negotiate with us. The government set up a panel. The first was headed by Muzili Jubri. That was in May last year. We finished with them. And they said, okay, now that we are finished, let us go and show our principal, which is the government, to give them permission to sign. We said, fine. They didn't come back to us until February this year to say they rejected it. Then in March, they set up on that one, headed by Nimi Briggs. And by 16th of June, we also finished with them amicably, and we all reached an agreement. And now they've come, till now, they've not reached back to us. All we are hearing is that ASUU chased out some lying. One Mr. Nzaga in national salary income went and lied to the government that we chased him out of the thing. But the good thing is that we have all the minutes of the meeting where he attended each of them, but he went and lied.
To what end? What is he trying to achieve?
It's just to scatter the whole process. That's what they've been doing. The people scattering all this process, not even the political elite. It's the bureaucrat. Why would you go and tell the government that they chase you out of negotiation?
Did you
know it's a lie.
Did you have an altercation with him?
At all. At all. Even the test of UTAS and IPPIS, he was also there from beginning to the end. But you go to the government and deceive the country, and you had the news that ASUU chased out some people out. And we have all the meanings. We have asked the government, bring out the meanings where it is declared he was chased out. Bring out all the attendants of the military to show that he did not, that he missed one. He didn't sign. He was prevented from signing. This is how they keep on putting wedges. We will finish. They go back. They send it to them. Salary and Wages Commission, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Labour, and what have you, and they throw wedges on it.
Okay.
And so that's where we are today.
Would you say that there has been a move, though? Because I mean, I'm looking at some of the, you know, the issues that you had. The major one, one of the ones that really stands out, is this UTAS and IPPIS system. ASUU doesn't want IPPIS, and they have been on this matter for a very long time. You say you have UTAS. Has there been some movement towards the acceptability of UTAS by the government, or is there still some resistance? Thank you very much. Like I also said, we had the first test, and by our standard, it passed. We had the second test, it scored 99.3, it passed. No, we've been saying all of that. I mean, I think you showed us documents the last time you were here. Then the third one, they said they would not test the three, and then accept the best. That is UTAS, IPPIS, and IPPIS, that we should test the three, and government should take the best, which we accepted. And that was concluded more than a month ago. And we still have not seen the result. And meanwhile, the students are languishing at home. Should you take one day? Where was this tested? By NIDA. It was tested by NIDA? By NIDA. Okay. Also a government agency. Yes, because don't forget that NIDA too had also written again to say that, oh, we didn't quite, you know, one time I think they said, oh, NIDA gave it a very complete pass. And then NIDA came back to say, no, we did not give it a complete pass, so that there was some misinformation. Anyway, this is where you are now. You've agreed to submit your mechanism to UTAS. We have done so. Are the results out? We've not seen the result. So if the results eventually come out and maybe UTAS is not accepted, there's no way. There's no way. From that test, there's no way UTAS will not come top. There's no way if bureaucrats don't also throw wages again. No, that's a problem. Because we were there. Yeah, but that's we were all there. We saw all the tests. They told us that they are using IPPIS. That's what the whole world knows, is it not? All you are hearing is that IPPIS is used to pay salary. IPPIS is saving money, is it not? But when they came to test, for the test, they brought another program. You know why I'm asking you this? Because just last week, we hosted the DG of the Bureau for Public Service Reforms. And he told us that IPPIS was their own idea, was their baby of the Bureau for Public Service Reforms. It was a part of their idea to reform the public service sector, and that largely it has worked for almost all of the civil servants. Oh, that was what he said. We heard much later from another source that when IPPIS was being formed and that an invitation was sent to all government agencies to send representation, that ASUU refused to show up for that particular discussion. And then when eventually so that, you know, their peculiar, you know, perhaps salaries and allowances might be incorporated into IPPIS, the ASUU was nowhere to be found. You see, what you have in Nigeria, public officer come to the public without checking background. It might be a new person in the office. Without checking the background, No, they're two different things. I'm just giving you. I just gave you two different scenarios. The DG for Bureau of Public Service Reforms told us here on set, we have it on tape, that IPPIS was their baby. I mean, it's their idea of, and that is working for most civil service. That is one. The second one, which I told you, was from another source. I did not say it was from the DG of Bureau for Public Service Reforms. So I just want to know, is it true that one, ASUU was not present when IPPIS was being configured? And secondly, how come is it that it's working for everybody else, but ASUU says it cannot work for us? Good. You see, there are some people who are working in Nigeria that don't have the opportunity to air their view. Okay. If you have that opportunity, you will not be saying this thing. Two, if any Nigerian tell you that there are people who generate IPPIS, it's a liar. We have it. You can Google it. Google IPPIS. Just Google IPPIS. IPPIS has nothing to do with, and no Nigeria has nothing to do with IPPIS. IPPIS was concocted by World Bank in 2006 and gave to Nigeria that you must use this. You know, as usual now, they are taking over this country. You must use this to pay your workers' salary.
and this is the amount you need to pay. You can Google it and see it and read it. You don't need to go to anybody. You will see it there. So anybody that is the owner, it's not true. It was forced on this country. And I ask myself, we're a country with the intelligentsia that you have today. Do you have to go abroad to go and look for how to pay your salary? Now, here, this is the report of the Auditor General of 2019.
Saying what?
On IPPIS, let me read some to you. In the month of October 2020, for the Mamadou Bello University's area, out of a total of 9,666, 5,338 have issue with their PFAs.
That's their pension fund?
In the Nigerian police force, over 130,000 officers have PFAs PIN issues. These people, they don't have time. They won't have a opportunity to come and discuss with you. Then they won't have the right to come here and speak. So when you look at this report, it tells you all that you need to know about the problem with IPPIS. With IPPIS, this is by the government committee. I will challenge the government, and I think that's the best way to, as a country. Let the government produce the report of the Auditor General of 2019.
Why just 2019?
No,
why
I mean, no, this is just...
Why not 2020? Why not 2021?
Just wait, this is the one that we have. This is the one. You know, the general, they are not as current as the other one. No, it takes time to do auditing.
I understand.
They can also produce the one after that. But this one tells you the whole thing. I think they must do the first one. It tells you the whole thing, how much we are losing. How somebody who is 18 years is retiring. How about 170 people having the same PIN. That is, you are paying 130 people with the same PIN. And what, they're all here. So we challenge this government. We challenge National Assembly, because a copy was on National Assembly. We challenge the Auditor General. Please produce that copy and publish it, because it should be Nigerians to know. That tells you. So that is it on this IPPIS thing. And then they challenge us, and here is on our thing, that we should produce an alternative, and that it will be deployed.
You did not answer the questions directly, though. The questions I asked was about whether when it was being formulated, the ASUU gets...
Good, I will come to that. I will come to that. It's very, you need the background.
Yeah.
When IPPIS was introduced, in 2014, when we looked at it, we told them it will not work. We were in a meeting with Auditor General, it's a lady. We were in a meeting with them and said this thing will not work. And when all of us have met, we met with them. They met on zonal basis. That's why I say people don't have background. And we have documentation we can produce to get to Nigeria, even what the conclusion we reach. And when they found out, when we have educated them, what happened in the university, they agree we should set up an independent body with members for the union and government to develop the want for the universities. But that ASUU should nominate 2 people, other union 2 people, which we did. They never did come back to us again. Until 2014, so that you get the picture, 2017, they call us again. You had it that with ASUU we must join IPPIS. I will say it's not possible. So they came and presented it to us. We said, let's see what you are presenting. You are going to present, and we voted it. Because it was just spreadsheet. And you can't be used spreadsheet and say you are conserving money, it's foolproof. And we discussed over a long time. And we concluded that since we raised the issue of law, because there's also issue of law, that this issue of law should be sorted out before it can be applied, if it agreed. And the law is this. There is a law, University Ministerial Act, stated that any circular coming in from the ministry is null in the university. You know why? Because every university has a structure. The structure of the university, that the only person who can give directive is the visitor who can give directive to the council to the university. So autonomy. So this idea of going to bring one in, we also challenge them also that name one university in the whole world, Benin, any part of the world, where salary of lecturers are paid from a Carter General office. And there is none. You know, in paying salary, there are issues. So if there are issue with somebody who is being paid from Sokoto, he has to, that person alone has to now take flight. The president is 100,000 naira per trip. Have to pay money, come to and stay in a queue, even vice chancellor, to see a clerical officer. Go to IPPIS office, you see the queue. And then when he finishes, he goes back. It might not be corrected. The one from Port Harcourt had to come. Is that right? It would have favor assistance. Okay,
but let me ask you, because, you know, in recent times you have tried to, and maybe I'm deviating from the issue, because right now what a lot of people want is for us to be able to make progress. I mean, and they are not happy that you have decided to roll over the strike. But I think the reason why we're doing this is so that people will understand the position of ASUU on this. And I think it's very important for people to see that you're not being difficult, that this is you acting in good faith. I'm just looking at, the details of, of UTAS now. Moving forward, you say that this is what you have presented, and there are a few rules that prevent the federal government from interfering within the university system. You talked about autonomy. Yes. Universities having their own autonomy, but there have been attempts to try and entrench transparency. And part of this attempt to entrench transparency was where we saw the introduction of the TSA, where the federal government can, at one glance, find out how much it has in its kitty, how government agencies are remitting funds to a particular account. Would you say that universities should be exempt from such a transparency system?
You see, if you do the whole analysis, you put a high-tech committee people to look at it, this thing they have introduced is the worst form of corruption. The
TSA?
Yes, and all of them. That is why only one man today.
The Treasury single account?
All of them. You saw the report the other day, how Accountant General alleged to have compromised TSA, and you read it.
Yes, but
just wait. And that is why only one man can sit down and do that, because only one man have access to all these things. Well, in those days, there were better checks. A university will sit down from all departments, they collate and have a budget. And that budget will be screened by the University Governing Council. After screening, it comes to budget office. After screening from budget office to the Ministry of Education, it goes to National Assembly, it is screened. And then when it is approved, it's released to you. Then the next year, when you are coming back to National Assembly for the other year, you have to give account of how you spend this one this year before they approve a new one for you. So that is a check. Then also in university law, they also declare that every 5 years, the federal government will send a high-power vision panel to university to check how their money has been spent. A high power to go and check every 5 years. So that if anybody infringes on any money, you discipline him. That was how it was. We have to go on strike for the government to set up that panel. We have to force them to come and investigate us. After 11 years, they refuse to do that work. So that is the check that you have. Then you also have the Auditor General, who also have a right and also come to or look at how the money was spent. That was what you have in those days. You don't talk about this thing you are talking about today. Only one man can take 170 billion and just take away. So
isn't it because we have that system in place? That is how this one man was detected.
No, you see, that was just 1 year. That money you had that led to have been collected 2011-21. What happened from 2006? What I'm saying is that it is wrong. Then, for a university, very importantly, a university in those days and all over the world have a right to invest their money. You have a money. You can invest it and generate fund, additional fund. I had a VC in my university, Professor Onyido. Before he left, he had generated so much money. I invested. I was using this thing. But with TSA, university cannot more invest. No interest, to nothing. You cannot invest. So you must have this. When you go around the world, every university have investment. Unilag used to have one of the best investment, but you have crashed it. When you can easily check anybody who is misbehaving. So TSA, what you are saying, you are localizing corruption. You are moving it all over the country, corruption. But what you have done now, you have brought it to one place.
You have centralized.
And it's not checked. You are centralizing corruption, and you are not checked. Nobody checks you. Okay. Even for EFCC, you won't even know this. But in this system, in the university, there are checks and balances.
Let's send this to Lagos now.
Well, Prof, just wondering, when you said that when it was time for federal government to do that test, and then they came up with another software, could you shed some light? What was that? Because government has always insisted that it is IPPIS that they insist upon.
Well, all along we're hearing IPPIS, but at that test, another name came up. I can't remember the exact name, but something suit. I can't remember something suit came up. And we say, is this what we'll be using? What we'll be here is IPPIS. So that is it.
Well, ever since February 14, when ASUU went to strike, is it that no money has been paid to ASUU? Because, I mean, we all remember how the Minister of Labour said, I think about, is it 92 billion has been paid to ASUU at some point?
Since this strike started, no salary of ASUU member have been paid. All those money you talk about, they are not paid to ASUU. No, we keep on having this misconception. ASUU does not manage university money. The university, this money is managed by the University Governing Council. But I can also assure you, since 2021, no money. After the one they released in 2020, 30 billion, nothing has been released to the university system.
Okay. Well,
ASUU,
you always said that the Minister of Education, at some point, you said he was forthcoming, he was engaging ASUU, he's the one that ought to be speaking, and the Minister of Labour should not complicate matters. But at the moment, it appears as though the Minister of Education is missing. So what kind of impact has he had in all of this?
Well, like I said, that the impression was that there were 2 weeks given to the Minister of Education. I don't know whether it's correct or not. We had it from the press. It's not expired. So we'll wait. That minister is not like colleagues in the Labour who like press. That one want to work quietly. So we'll wait for him.
And the question, Prof, naturally is if he likes to work quietly. It's been 5 months. It will be 6 months in just 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. So can we really say that he's been working, I mean, doing work quietly, and at least that work is visible if we've not seen any change in over 5 months? Is that really the work that we expect?
Well, like I said, the minister, whether Minister of Labour or Minister of Education, they are government officers. So this question should go to the government. What are they representing you? What are they doing? I think that Nigerians should ask the government and those representatives. We don't speak for the Ministry of whether the Minister of Labour or Minister of this thing, but they should ask the government what are they doing.
Well, to a large extent,
what have they done in the past 2 weeks that they gave the Minister of Education?
I think
what
to a large extent,
for 5 months. It's not we.
Right.
That question should go to the government.
I understand. To a large extent, you can at least speak about the engagement, and it takes me to kind of a double-edged sword. So ever since the strike started, just to be clear, you've been receiving your salaries. Am I right?
No, nobody has. Like I said again, no, our members, our salary had not been heard. This is the 6th month our salary had been heard. But we know the idea was to ensure that if they thought that if they hold our salary for 2 or 3 months, we'll come begging and say, please allow us to go back to work. But we as a union of intellectuals, we are grown beyond that. You can't use the force of hunger to pull our members back, which is exactly what the government is doing. And that's why they are still delaying, hoping that we'll see collapse. It will not work.
So it's been no work, no pay, apparently. But quickly now, yes. Prof, I just need to know, ever since that 2 week or 3 weeks, whichever one, because there's been a back and forth even from the president saying, no, it wasn't 2 weeks, it was 2-3 weeks. But it was exactly this time, 2 weeks ago, on the 19th of July, that came out. Has there been any form of interface, as much as a text message, as much as even a flash, as they say, between the government and ASUU?
Well, for us, the meeting we talked about, that we quote, are those that are officially called. But if somebody in the ministry called me and talked to me and what have you, they are just, those are informal. And we don't act on informal this thing. We want formal.
Let me just quickly get this in, Prof. You know, on the issue of IPPIS, government, I've heard, you know, one government official say in most recent times that government is your employer and you are the employee, and as a result, you should subscribe to the payment platform that it provides. I wonder what your comments to that would be. And then the platform that was presented as an alternative that you say was not what was used before, if IPPIS was not satisfactory to ASUU, did ASUU consider that? Was it tested?
You see, thank you. Let's start with the first one, this employer and employee. When a day you run to the way, what you have just expressed, that once you have been employed by somebody, you cannot speak again, whether they pay you salary, whether they cut your salary, you don't speak, then it becomes master-slave relationship. In academic world, you cannot have master-slave relationship. If there are issues that are wrong, the worker should indicate it. And very importantly, and ASUU have found out that IPPIS is wrong in so many facets. One is that as a country like Nigeria, where we are, giant of Africa, we can't be going to beg to hire somebody abroad to tell you how to pay your salary. It's very shameful. And the whole world is laughing at us. That's one for you. And for ASUU, we found out that it is completely wrong. It does not capture everything that you have in the system. And meanwhile, we are paying heavily, billions of naira every year for that program. And then they challenge us. We have a document here. In 2020, the government challenged us that ASUU, can you produce a better alternative? And we said yes. He said, go ahead and do it, it will be deployed. We have it written, MOA, Memorandum of Action. And we produce and have been tested. We also asked government, this one you are using, that they gave you from outside the country that you are paying, you are using, has it ever been tested? They said no. So you got something abroad and brought to your country to use. It was not tested. Then your country intellectuals produce one, and you say it must be tested. But we are happy that now NIDA have agreed. And I think they're also happy that they have tested what they first capture as IPPIS. Now they have captured something else. So
can I ask you quickly, as we wrap up now, if your own platform is accepted, it is tested and it is accepted, will ASUU call off the strike?
You see, like I said, this issue is not about one item. Mm-hmm. There are several items.
Yeah, but is this the single biggest item?
All of them, they are all big. One.
So all of them must be done? All of them must be done before ASUU calls off the strike? I'm just looking for what the minimum that must be done as a mark of good faith before ASUU...
That will be between we and the government negotiation committee. It's not between we and the Nigerian public. It's their duty to come to us and say, look, we can do A, we can do B, we can do C. Give us time to do D and what. It's their duty.
Okay.
Not we say, no, we accept A, B, C, D. No. All the issues are important. Revitalization is important. Paying our members their earn allowance is important. Releasing the report of the job panel is important. This proliferation of university, let me give you one. It's very, very funny. What? We are on strike. Just one second. We are on strike. Talking about university not being funded. And we reported last week that there are 63 bills in the National Assembly to start 63 new universities. And they have never mentioned one word about this strike. The idea is to constitute, the election is coming. Let's start 63 universities, distribute it, and then people will clap for us and vote for us. That is their children are not. I want to see one of those universities are creating. What their children are brought, they should go and put them in that university. So that is the problem we're having.
Well, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Professor Emmanuel Osodeke is the president of ASUU, and we've been talking about the rollover of 4 weeks, which ASUU has just embarked upon. We hope that it will be called off very soon, and the children will be able to go back home and go back to school as soon as possible. Well, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you. We also look forward to the student resuming as soon as possible, because I love teaching. I'm missing my students.
We'll take a break at this point and we'll be back to discuss another issue. Please stay with us.